feels like this year's legislative session is dragging on, well, you're not alone. You might feel like Walt, who texted in and said, "Legislators, you passed a budget, now go home." Well, it's not exactly that simple, as we all know. And for how many days this session has gone on so far, it's not quite out of the ordinary, at least not yet. In fact, history shows Idaho sessions can run anywhere from about 2 months to well over 4. We looked back at how long lawmakers have stayed in the State House over the years. Every January,
House to be in order.
Lawmakers head back to the State House.
First order of business.
But when they go home, that part's not set in stone. Unlike many states, Idaho has no constitutional deadline to end its legislative session. So lawmakers stay until budgets are passed and major policy debates are finished.
And give me your green light on this issue.
Looking at the numbers, most Idaho sessions land somewhere between 75 and 90 days. Even years are usually shorter because it's election years. But a few of them really stand out. Technically, the longest in history came in 2021, lasting 311 days. However, the main session went for 122 days. But lawmakers didn't sine die, which kept the session open.
We fundamentally disagree.
That session included pandemic debates, political fights, and even a 2-week pause after several lawmakers caught COVID. They met infrequently throughout the next few months until November 17th.
I'm delighted to bid you adieu and see you in 2022. Although we have fought, I like y'all a lot. So until next year, toodaloo.
They finally ended the 2021 session.
The ayes have it, and the Senate is adjourned sine die.
Vote count shows 37 in favor, with 24 against and 9 absent. The House is adjourned sine die.
Before that, some of the longest sessions came during economic and budget challenges. In 2009, during the Great Recession.
No other session in the history of the state was confronted with the problems and the surprises that the 60th, first session of the 60th legislature was this year.
Lawmakers stayed 117 days trying to close major budget gaps.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned sine die.
It was unanimous in the Senate, and minutes later, the House followed suit. Some danced. Some pretended to cry.
I'm so sad to be gone.
But a majority were happy with the compromise that was made and say this is government in action.
And in 2003, a large state deficit stretched the session into 118 days.
Of the 57th Idaho legislature is adjourned. Sine die.
On the other end of the spectrum, some of the fastest sessions wrapped up in just 68 days, including 2002.
A feeling of relief is settling in on the State House.
This is my 10th year here, and this is the toughest.
This is my 8th year, and by far this is the toughest session I've ever been through.
Just put everybody under a lot of pressure and tough decisions. It's just time to go home.
And the same, a speedy 68 days in 1999, but was called a snooze of a session.
This was basically a budget-driven session. There were not a lot of real high-profile issues that surfaced. This session will probably be remembered more for what didn't pass than what did.
And 2004 flew by at just 69 days, where most budgets had unanimous support.
Virtually every budget that I submitted to them had unanimous or near unanimous support, not a great deal of debate.
Which is mainly because there were stable state revenues and fewer large policy battles. Looking at the current 2026 session, which started January 12th, lawmakers initially hoped to wrap up around March 27th. If that happens, the session would last about 75 days, which would make it one of the shortest sessions that Idaho's seen in more than a decade. But again, closing major budget gaps tends to make the session run quite a bit longer than the other years. So maybe it's a bit overly optimistic on that goal? We'll see. But without a mandated deadline, sine die is up to them. So today marks the 57th day of the 2026 legislative session. Can they do it? Make it the shortest session since 2014 and get out to tackle the election year? Text in your thoughts.